Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Undisputed Nerds with your gentlemanly gamer. As a muscly man, semi-naked with a sword once said, I have the power! Zane is not here this week, ladies and gentlemen. He is gone. He has left the building. He is over in New York, enjoying himself thoroughly at Comic-Con, so I've been told. By the time you hear this, he'll be on the way back. And I'll be cursing him for going without me. But fear not, gracious people of the Undisputed Nerdland. We have the most perfect of replacements for him. Dare I say an improvement, but I'm not going to tell him that. The gentleman Rinsler has joined us. Say hello, Rinsler.
Hello, Rinsler.
There you go. See, he doesn't get offended when I ask him to say hello. How are you, Squire?
I'm very good, thank you. I think those intros get better and more complimentary towards me each time, so I should keep coming back, really.
That's because you fill in for me at the very last minute when Zane drops it on me that he's going.
This is true. Yep.
You know, I mean, you're a very kind man to take time out of your busy schedule to do this, so I appreciate it. Yeah, how's things? What's been going on? What's new in Rinsler world since the last time we saw you for the cracking Stranger Things episode?
Yeah. Well, finished Stranger Things.
Oh yeah.
I've been watching everything else that seems to just keep being more and more shows every single day and week, and that you don't have any time for. But somehow we manage.
That's all right. I mean, we're getting to the point where it's going to be governments are just going to be taken over by the streaming services that we have to sit down and watch every single day and adhere to. So it's fine. I'm not sure how much your monthly streaming costs are now costing me, but. Not costing me, costing you, but it's costing me a fortune. So yeah, and I'm not getting Paramount Plus. I don't care about it. I just don't care. Have you got Paramount?
No.
Really? You're a fan of the Halo?
I did the trial, so I did it. I waited till it was all out. Did the trial for 7 days or 30 days, and blitzed it, and then that was it.
Welcome to the future, Undisputed Nerdiverse. Literally just do the trial and then bin them off. It's not worth it anymore.
I can't do season 2 though. I'll have to come up with a new email address.
Yeah, just create a new email address.
Fine.
Yeah. At least you haven't announced it now on a podcast that goes out to the world, so they'll never be able to trace you down. That's good.
Yeah, they'll never figure it out.
Rinsler@gmail.com.
Rinsler1, Rinsler2.
Rinsler1. Is Halo actually any good? Just out of curiosity, because I haven't watched it yet.
Mixed. I enjoy it because I'm like, oh my god, that's the thing, and that's the thing, and there's a warthog and there's a needler and all that stuff. It's yeah. And then there's other bits like, this is weird. Yeah. What's this doing in a Halo show? What is this? But then I can't remember how many there are. I want to say there's 8.
Right.
There might be 10, whichever way it is. But the penultimate one and the one before that were like just Halo action. So okay. Yeah, this is what we wanted for like 8 episodes.
Plasmering it up like there's no tomorrow. Yeah, exactly. I have to let you in on a little secret. I'm not actually feeling that great today. So you and I share on a certain dietary requirement that I started recently, and it's the results have been fabulous. I've been losing weight, and then yesterday. Thank you, darling. And then yesterday, my wife and I, we were like, well, can't be bothered to cook, so we'll order burgers. And we got burgers from a popular brand. Other brands are available, Five Guys. And obviously bunless, because you're on a keto diet, which I am on. So you don't want any of the wheat or any of that. And so anyway, so we spent money on this. They're not cheap, these burgers, and we're in a cost of living crisis, guys. So anyway, get the burgers. Guess what happens? One of them turns up, bunned up to the nines.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, happens all the time.
Because of the nature of how it was, because of how long it had waited, they were so congealed together. It was almost impossible to scrape the bunny wheatiness off. So I ended up eating some of the bun, and oh lordy lord, have I felt terrible today. Good Lord Almighty. So it's making me kind of rethink. So I don't know, for those of you who are our regular listeners, I'm going away next weekend to London. So I don't know if I'll be on next week's show. It may just be a Zane show with another guest, probably you.
I was going to say, thanks for the heads up. I'll know for next week.
Yeah, so I don't know. I might try and do it on the Thursday because we wanted to do a She-Hulk review because it's the end of the series next week. Have you seen the latest episode, Rinsler?
I have.
Oh my God. How good was that episode, by the way? That is the... If you haven't seen it, guys out there, I'm not going to spoil anything. Watch episode 8 of She-Hulk. Is the best episode of this season so far. It is phenomenal. But yeah, we kind of agreed, like, oh, when we go to London, we'll just like not worry about keto for a little bit and just, you know, do the carb thing for a bit, but like limit ourselves. And now I'm just like, I've had the tiniest amount of carbs, so I feel terrible, and I'm just like, I don't know if I should let the taps out and just go for it or what, because I might feel horrible whilst I'm there.
It is the main reason I haven't gone back, because I did the same. I had whatever I did, but like then the next couple of days, I was like, your body just doesn't acclimatize to it, and then it's like, oh, there's that thing that I haven't eaten for like 6 months or 3 months or whatever. And, now I don't like it.
It was really wheaty as well. Like I could like literally like when I was eating it, like you could like the bun that was left on it, you could literally like I could smell the wheat as I was
Maximus,
consuming.
like your hand going through a field.
Yeah, honestly, yeah. It's like I could smell the dead family in the background. It was horrible. I'm not cutting it, Zane. I'm not cutting it. Deal with it. I'm in control now. Yes. I can say all the controversial things that I want to. Anyway, guys, so moving on to the bulk of the show, darlings. So we've done a lot on the show. We've done a lot on the show. Last week we looked at the X-Men that we'd want to see in Deadpool. We've looked at some of our favorite things over the years, some of our favorite characters, some of our favorite moments, but you know what? We've never delved into the muck. We've never got down into the filth of the worst comic book character interpretation seen on screen. And you know what? I thought Rinsler's back. I'm going to delve into the muck with him. So this week, we're going to be looking at our 3 picks each of our worst comic book character adaptations to film. And we're going to be going through the list of them and getting into the filth so you guys don't have to. But before all that, Rinsler, it's time for some gorgeous VPN adverts. Zane, did you know that I love to surf?
No, I didn't.
I know, it's amazing. You'd never believe it looking at me, but I am an avid surfer. Not of the sea, though. Oh, no. I am a surfer of the World Wide Web, my friend. And let me tell you something. When I go surfing, I definitely need some protection. Not the usual kind of wetsuit, though. I need some VPN. Do you know what VPN means, Zane?
I don't. What's a VPN?
Well, it would be a virtual private network. And let me tell you, we here at Undisputed Nerds are being sponsored this week. And a big thank you to the episode sponsor, Surfshark VPN. You can get Surfshark VPN 83% off and free months 3, Zane, if you go to surfshark.deals/Undisputed Nerds and enter in the promo code Undisputed Nerds. Surfshark VPN lets you trick your device into thinking it's in another country, which opens up a whole world of content library, Zane. So think about it this way. If you're in the UK, you can watch US Netflix, which has a far bigger selection of movies. You can get all of your Batfleck content that I know you love, Zane. I know you're looking for. If you're outside of the UK as well, you can watch amazing apps like BBC iPlayer. And if you're in the US, you can finally get access back to the old WWE Network with its far superior functionality. We've been using, me and Zane have been using Surfshark here at Undisputed Nerds for a while. It is our official VPN, and it doesn't just let us gain access to all the comic book movies, but it also secures our networks by encrypting internet traffic, keeping our location and download history private, thankfully, so that people can't see me purchasing wetsuits. My favorite feature on the Surfshark, it knows when my phone leaves a trusted connection, like my home or work internet, and it immediately turns on to prevent interference. It's like having, I don't know, Batfleck's Justice League for your phone, Zane.
I know exactly what you mean.
and I know you've got a lot of Batfleck on your phone right now. So sign up to Surfshark today by using our link in the video description below, surfshark.deals/undisputed nerds, where you'll get, again, 83% off and your first 3 months free if you use the code Undisputed Nerds. We really appreciate if you just at least check them out, as they're a great company and we love working with them. Support Undisputed Nerds and support your internet privacy with Surfshark. There you go, guys. Go and get a VPN, specifically Surfshark. Right, Rinsler. So before we get into the main event, we also have our regularly recurring segment, which is now Batman 360 No Scope. Let's just get a little flavor. Let's just get ourselves into it. That's enough. We can't afford any more. That's enough. Right. Good. Okay. Good. Brilliant. Right. Rinsler, I know the last time you were on the show, we were talking about Nicolas Cage with What's All the Rage with Nicolas Cage. Well, for those of you who have not heard before, and for the benefit of Rinsler, Batman 360 No Scope. Well, in the comics, Batman doesn't murder anyone. He's not a pacifist, as I said the first time when I did this, but he definitely does never cross that line. I mean, unless you count the early days when he just murdered everyone in the comics. But we don't talk about that. We don't talk about that time, right? Now, he doesn't murder anyone in the comics. But in the films, oh, God, he loves a bit of killing. Oh, he loves a bit of murder, Rinsler. He absolutely adores it. So, what we do is, each week, I play you an audio clip from a Batman movie where Batman is, you guessed it, performing in a murder. What I want from you... I know. What I want from you is I want the film, the year, and who he's killing. Are you ready for this, Rinsler?
Definitely not. But yes.
Definitely not. I've picked quite a hard one for you as well, so I don't think you're going to get it, but we'll see.
Has Zane ever got them? What's his track record?
He's had 3 so far, and he's 2-1. So he's got 2 and he's missed 1. So
no pressure, then.
No pressure. Oh, it's all right. I look, this is it's a last bit. This is the one I wanted. I was gonna do for him this week, but I thought, you know what? It was either this or I was gonna give you a Zack Snyder one just to annoy him whilst he was away. I'm gonna give you a little hint. It's not a Zack Snyder one. This one. So there you go. Right, ladies and gentlemen, if you're playing along at home, prepare yourselves. Here comes the Batman 360 No Scope. Ladies and gentlemen who are listening and not watching, Rinsler looks completely perplexed.
I was paying no attention to what my face looked like then. It sounded super cheesy. So,
well, would you? Well, I will extend the option. I can play it again whenever you want. So feel free to have a little bit of breather time. Have a think.
I'm going to go with no. It's no Nolan. It's not Nolan.
It's not Nolan.
It's not Nolan. It's none of those.
Okay. All right.
So I'm looking at...
That was a hard sentence to say. It's not Nolan.
I know. It's not Nolan. I feel like... I don't know why I want to say Batman Returns.
Ooh.
It felt Burton-y.
Okay. All right. And I will tell you, you are correct on your choice of movie. Yes. Do you remember what year it was?
No.
I'll give you a clue. It was the 90s.
Yeah. I want to say the first 89. It's the first 89.
Yeah, the first is 89. Yeah.
So I feel like I'm either going to say 92 or 94 for some reason. It's 92, isn't it?
It is 92. Yes. Well done.
Come on.
Nice. Right, okay. All right. Now, would you like to hear this one more time to identify who he's killing?
Go on then. Is he torching someone with the Batmobile?
Rinsler, ding, ding, ding. He's done it, ladies and gentlemen. You have successfully identified the Batman murder where he kills one of the Penguin's goons by flipping the Batmobile around on a weird pivot. Why would he have that built into the bottom of the Batmobile? We don't know. And then full-on jet roasting him in the exhaust fumes. Congratulations, Rinsler. You have done it.
That's it. I'm not coming back. I'm 1 for 1. That's it.
He's ending it undefeated. Yes, guys at home, did you get the Batman 360 no scope this week? I hope you played along and enjoyed. There will be more next week. Believe me, I have an entire plethora of these to go through. He's murdered so many people. But yes, cool, good. Well, let's get
I'm a little bit proud of myself for that. I was thinking I am never going to get this, but yeah, nice.
No, it was good. It was good. Yes, let's move on to a seedy topic, if you will, a dirty, horrendous topic that we're all thinking, oh no, why would you want to? Well, we're telling you these things so that you don't have to. We're telling you these things so that you don't have to watch these performances because, my goodness, they are awful. Ladies and gentlemen, here we go. We're going to go through our top 6, because that's, 3 each. Our top 6 worst comic book performances ever in movies. So, Rinsler, do you want to kick us off, or do you want me to kick us off? I've got, believe me, it was hard whittling it down to 3 for me, but I've managed to do it.
I can kick it off purely to keep with the Batman theme.
Oh, go
See
on.
what I did there.
I liked it.
One of my 3. Well, I narrowed it down, but it could have been anything. But Mr. Freeze.
Lady, Mr. Schwarzenegger, I meant to say. I was going to say Lady Schwarzenegger. I don't know where that came from.
Yes, Mr. Schwarzenegger. I just couldn't get on with him as Mr. Freeze at all. He's just Terminator, so it just looked weird. and the horrendous catchphrases, which I meant to find some, but I can't remember what they are. But I just remember thinking, that's awful. That's awful.
Oh, I can think of quite a few.
Yeah, you're welcome to the Ice Age.
What killed the dinosaurs? The Ice Age. That's one.
That's it.
When he smashes through into some kind of gala event in his little weird freeze tank thing that he had, and then tells everyone to chill. I mean, there's a number of like horrific Schwarzenegger puns in that. Yeah, I mean, I don't think his performance was incredible. If you look at the comic book version of Mr. Freeze, he's obviously a brilliantly intelligent man, working on the cure for, I want to say it's like Hodgson's disease or something like that. I can't remember what the name of the disease is that his wife has, but anyway, in the book, it's a really tragic. He's a really tragic figure, like genuinely really tragic. He's trying to cure his wife. He has stumbled at every block and then has this horrific accident happen to him, which basically means that he can't exist in normal temperatures. Like, he literally has to be cool the entire time. There's been a lot of conversations in the book about whether or not he's doing it because he's secretly a villain in his own heart, and it's just given him the excuse to be like this. But I think it's safe to say that Schwarzenegger didn't really capture the emotional weight and pathos of Mr. Freeze. Would you agree with that?
I would agree with that. So my reference for Mr. Freeze is from the animated series, Batman the animated series.
Oh, yeah.
That's my reference for Mr. Freeze, not really the comics, but that's my reference.
Is that the animated movie that you're talking about, or just the series in general?
The series in general.
Yeah, I can't remember what the name of the film. I'm going to look it up. But there was a film that was based all around Mr. Freeze. I want to say it's like a cold heart or something like that. It is Cold Heart. Heart of Ice. That's the first episode he appears in. I swear there was a movie about him as well. I swear there was. Anyway, yeah, I mean, like, it's interesting, isn't it? How you get to the point where it's like, obviously, the Batman that came out recently with Pattinson was excellent and very well received. But it is amazing how so many of the characters, like represented in the comics, are so perfectly encapsulated in the animated series, and I guess it's because it lends to it. But just weird decisions with that film as well. Like he's trying to save his wife, but then he's got a woman on the side. Yeah. Like, what is that? And then he's obviously it's Schwarzenegger, so I get that you have to lean into the fact that it's Schwarzenegger, but the guy cannot be around heat, and yet he's smoking cigars.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
And then he wants his henchmen to sing Frosty the Snowman to him, or whatever it is that they're singing. It's just weird. I get that it's campy.
You've got an incredible memory, or have you watched it recently?
No, I haven't watched it recently. I just have an incredible memory of horror. It's not a good film. Also, one of my picks is out of that film, so we'll come on to that in a bit. But yeah, I think it's a very good call, my friend. It's a horrible interpretation of Mr. Freeze, and rumor has it that the Matt Reeves, the Batman, is going to interpret a version of Mr. Freeze at some point in the next couple of films, because obviously their plan is to do a trilogy. I think that would be fantastic if they do it right. He's a weird villain, because it's kind of the same situation where it's like with Daredevil, where it's like, what's Daredevil's superpower? Oh, he's blind. And then it's like, what's Mr. Freeze's power? Oh, he's cold. Yeah, exactly. So it's kind of, it has the opportunity to be ridiculous, as we have seen. But yeah, it also has the opportunity to be incredible and like a really conflicted tale of, one man's genius and how he will just slip to the dark side because of the trauma of things happening to the people he loves. So yeah, good choice, very good choice, my friend. All right,
thanks.
Well, as we're sticking with themes here, there's a theme here. I think we're going to go with Batman and Robin again. Why not? Because it's such a wonderful film. My choice, not Mr. Freeze. My choice from Batman and Robin is Bane. So, where do I begin with this? Bane in the comic books is a almost luchador-inspired genius who was kept in a prison for the first 15 years of his life, I think it was. Made him incredibly malicious, tough, horrible. He is the one person in the comic books that has broken the bat. I say one person, I mean, traditionally speaking, he is the one person who has broken the bat. He has snapped Batman's spine in half in the comics, which he recovers from because comics. And widely regarded as one of the most popular villains in the Batman Rogue Gallery, created in the 80s. And so when he was set to appear in Batman and Robin, I think we were all excited to see what take it was going to be. I mean, it's quite unfortunate that they decided to get a really weird, skinny, horrible guy. Oh, I haven't even mentioned Venom, by the way, which is his main primary means of making himself fit and strong, like a good boy should be, which is basically a hyped up version of steroids, which he kind of like plugs right into his veins. But yeah, in Batman and Robin, they decided to take a really scrawny, really skinny guy, and they turn him into a weird plant monster guy who he doesn't have any lines really. He just says one word things, and he's literally there to be Poison Ivy's muscle. It's just really weird. It's really weird, and I've nothing against the actor who plays Bane, but God almighty, is it terrible. It's really, really bad. Any thoughts on that, Rinsler?
I'm currently I didn't actually need to remind myself what he looked like, but I wanted to have a look. It's so ridiculous.
It is
just the amount of veins
and
on him
he's
as
green.
well. And he's green, yeah. That was going to be my question. He's never green in the comics?
Well, you remember, obviously, famously, Tom Hardy in The Dark Knight Rises, Bane is green. So, no, of course not. No, not at all. I mean, so, the Venom is like Venom in the comics is traditionally colored green. So when he pumps it into his veins, it kind of has like that green glow appearance, and his eyes can glow green. But no, he's
not Hulk.
No,
in the comics, yeah. And the mask is with the wires and the spiky whatever cufflinks.
The mask I don't necessarily mind so much because they kind of kept with the traditional luchador. I like it. It's so weird because the two interpretations that we've had of Bane, ironically enough, I mean, let's be frank, the Tom Hardy interpretation is much better. But like looks wise, if they'd have taken the mask and put it on the head of Tom Hardy, it would have been very comic accurate, really.
Yeah. Yep.
But yeah, Bane is not it. Batman and Robin Bane. It's not good. It's not good. I mean, the Tom Hardy one. I guess it in characteristically traditional to the to like the comics. Yeah, the Tom Hardy one's not very accurate to the comics. However, it's an appropriate villain for an appropriate universe. Exactly. And that's why I don't mind it so much, And I get that this universe is campy and it's supposed to be like the 60s and all crazy, but like, God, it's Bane, man. Like, this the last time we were seen in the comics, he literally broke the Batman's back, and then you're like making him, no, I'm a big horrible monster. No. It's like ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. So, yes, Bane goes on my list.
He's got a really big spiky choker neck brace. Yeah.
Yeah. He's basically a sub to Poison Ivy.
I don't know what that means.
Oh, I heard it. I don't know.
Yeah.
I hear these things. I don't know. I just repeat them.
Does he die in that film? Bane? Does he?
No, he gets reshrunk down to his tiny prison form.
Right.
Yeah. He gets his plug knocked out at the back of his head and then he returns to normal.
Obviously, because, you know, comics.
Yeah. And then he's wearing like a big diaper just rolling around on the floor like, oh, no. It's very weird. It's weird. It's a weird thing. Right, moving on. Let's get off this quickly before I start opening up any more like weird sub conversations. Rinslow, what's your next choice?
So just for Zane.
Yes.
Yeah, I went with Daredevil.
But what, the Charlie Cox version?
No, obviously not.
Oh,
I think there's another version from like 2005. Is it?
Oh yeah,
something like that. Yeah.
Who might that be starring in that?
I think his name's Ben something.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, you mean? Hang on. You mean Ben Affleck? You mean
I do.
Zane's lover, Ben Affleck?
That's the one. Yes, that one. Yeah, that.
Oh boy, he's gonna hate this. Go ahead, please.
So this one's more on a reflection. So as a film, that film was bad, but as my like knowledge at the time, so I didn't really appreciate how bad it was until then. Charlie Cox has come along, and you see that interpretation of Daredevil and what that character can do, and all of that amazing stuff. And then it was on TV. I say TV because I have TV. Like I was on a streamer, and I was like, I'll just go sort of fast forward through it, and I ended on the Elektra scene, and like,
oh god,
just on the seesaw, and just like, and then I turned it off. I was like, no. That's not it.
Yeah. I mean, jeez, that film. I think it's always a bad sign when somebody takes on a role as a superhero or as someone because they wanted to be someone else, And famously, Ben Affleck picked the role of Daredevil because he thought he was never going to be Batman, and he really wanted to be Batman, and this was the closest he was going to get. I mean, that film, Jennifer Garner is gorgeous in that film, and it's also that's where they meet and eventually end up being together in real life. So it's a beautiful love story from that, even though it didn't necessarily end in the best of ways. But yeah, his interpretation of Daredevil. Well, what do you dislike about it the most? Is it just upon reflection? Did you like it at the time? I'm curious.
No.
Okay. Well, that's all good.
No. So what? 2003. Can't remember how old I've been then. 20? Yeah, ish. 20-ish.
Yes.
So I just I can't remember what else was around 2003, but as from a comic book, we hadn't hit any stride yet, and these were all sort of in a similar-ish vein. They were generally pretty garbage, but this was really low down in that aspect of just. And Bullseye.
Oh yeah. Oh, you can't forget a bit of Colin Farrell hamming it up. Yeah. I think at that time we'd had Spider-Man 2 and we'd had X-Men 2.
Oh yeah, of course, yeah.
And so that
I rescind that statement because those are good. So we had some good comic books.
Yeah, we had that statement, and obviously Blade, the first Blade had kicked everything off pretty much. Really, when you kind of think about it, I think that this year was the same year that Ghost Rider came out. I think the first Ghost Rider, and I think we were basically in the era of like, let's throw everything against the wall and see what sticks. Yay! This was obviously before Batman Begins, so Batman was still in the doldrums, so there was no chance another Batman film was going to get made, you know, and that's why Ben Affleck took the role as Daredevil. I mean, yeah, I don't really know how much I need to go into it compared to Charlie Cox's Daredevil is pretty much the definitive definitive characterization of that character from. Not necessarily from the content of the Netflix series, because they do some things weird in the Netflix series. You know, like the Bullseye interpretation is a bit different. Kingpin is excellent. Like Kingpin and Daredevil are excellent in that. And then he seems to be excellent, rolling into the MCU as well. So we'll see. But yeah,
just like how much we all lost our minds when he was in Spider-Man.
Exactly.
Whenever that
Spoilers.
Was last year. Yeah,
spoiler for it almost a year ago.
Come on. And we got to watch that bit twice because they mucked it up in the cinema. So we were like, let's watch that again.
We did. It was great. It was even better the second time.
Even like you said at the beginning of this, like the last She-Hulk episode.
Let's not spoil anything.
Yeah.
Even though I think it was announced in the trailers and stuff. But yes, you guys just wait and see. But yeah, I think it's just a weird. It's such a film of its time as well, Daredevil, because like weird emo gothy music and stuff.
Oh yeah.
We talked about Zane and I, we discussed the Tips and Bits thing, where we said in Tips and Bits that Ben Affleck was apparently contacted by Marvel to potentially appear as a variant of Daredevil. That apparently was a conversation that had happened, and it didn't materialize. And Zane said at the time, as long as he came out of the portal with some kind of Evanescence song playing in the background, because that is just the epitome of that film. Basically, it's just weird soundtracks making more prominence than the actual films themselves. Just bizarre decisions and strange interpretations. I think the biggest problem I have with that film as well is the fact that X-Men unfortunately did start this trend where it's like leather look on a hero is sexy and cool, and then his outfit just looks ridiculous. Like it's just so again, the Charlie Cox, we've got a nice comparison with it. The Charlie Cox's armor outfit, it just looks perfect. It's functional, it looks the part, and it's how it's supposed to be, and God, you look back at the rubbery leather horribleness, and it's just like, oh no.
It's weird red as well. So look back at it now.
Crimson, isn't it?
Yeah. Just looking at the images, it's not good.
Sexy chin Affleck with his crimson looking.
Isn't there also, and I may have made this up, when he uses the I want to say blind vision, but what? to feel Elektra's face or something. There's a weird scene, isn't there, where he's is it in the rain as well? Is it in the rain?
Yeah, he uses his blind vision. Yeah, some people will call it his sonar or radar sense. But yeah, no, I'm going to call it blind vision from now on.
Blind vision. Yep, there you go.
Yeah,
Double negative.
It's when it rains, I can almost see again.
That's it. And is it terrible CG? It's 2003.
Yeah.
It came out. It's 2003 CG.
My God, you're beautiful. She just looks like Shrek. Fiona! Anyway.
Blind vision, that's it.
Blind vision. It's the new power. Yeah. I wouldn't mind, but you've just seen She-Hulk this week, and he literally talks about it.
I know. Yeah.
Anyway, right. Good. Well, I've got another one that will probably annoy Zane, but I'm going to save it till last because it is my most hated. So next, I am going to choose one of the ones. This is a Marvel one, following on from the Daredevil trend. So we're going DC and then we've gone Marvel. So let's see how we end. This one is from 2007, and I think we were all super excited to see this film when it was coming out. It was, very much hyped. Spider-Man 3. And the decision and the discussion was had that, oh my God, he's going to have the black suit. Does this mean that we will see Venom on screen? Yes, it did. And oh my God, was it awful. So yeah, for those of you who are not realizing what I'm saying, Venom in Spider-Man 3 is my second choice. Topher Grace was an appalling choice for Eddie Brock. He is, like a naughty's heartthrob. Was in, I can't remember what he was in. He was in, Dawson's Creek or something like that. I don't remember at the time. But anyway,
that's
Venom in that 70s show. That's what he was in. Perfect, even better casting then. But like Venom in the books, Eddie Brock is a guy who he is very muscular. He's very athletic. He is something of a bodybuilder. He has a lot of core physical strength. He's also driven and determined because he's a journalist, so he's an investigative journalist. He wants to be as good, if not better, than Peter Parker. Unfortunately, he goes about it by some unscrupulous methods, which gets him fired, and he then blames Peter Parker. They kind of explore that a little bit in the books, in the film, sorry, as it happens in the book. But there's just something about Topher Grace that he doesn't have any physical presence whatsoever to be in the least bit intimidating. And then you could totally tell that Spider-Man 3 was built to be Spider-Man against Sandman, and that was Sam Raimi's vision, and he put so much effort into making Sandman incredible. And for the record, guys, if you watch that film back, Sandman is incredible in that film. Like, the CGI work that they did on that, where he's reconstructing himself, is gorgeous. Like, it's amazing. And then they were working on the end of the Harry. I almost put New Goblin on this list. It was like very narrow margin. And the only reason I put Venom above New Goblin is that I loved Venom when I was growing up. He is by far and away one of my favorite characters when I was a kid. Him, Carnage, and the whole in fact, the Spider-Man animated series that they did was just fantastic. And so, knowing that Venom was going to appear, I was so super excited. And then he was just awful, like just terrible. Like the costume itself looked really bad because they tried to make it look like this weird organic. Also, by the way, it was just he could just take it off and flop it down on the floor anytime he wanted. The costume. That was weird. It's like there is a living symbiote. It's bonded to him. Oh yeah, but he can just take the suit off and put it in a trunk whenever he wants. So that was weird. And then when it does eventually go off him and goes on to Venom, they kept the exact styling. Didn't do the white spider on the chest, which annoyed me a lot. And then his face looks like, on hindsight, on looking back, it looks like the weird neomorphs that you have in Alien Covenant. with the stupid little mouths. It just doesn't look right. It was a weird bestial like form, which it didn't work in any. He seemed more like a dinosaur than he did an actual, symbiote. And you could tell that it was just rushed, shoehorned in at the last minute because the producers thought this will make more money because he's a very popular comic book character. And obviously Sam Raimi didn't want to do it, and he said so in subsequent interviews. I don't think Tom Hardy's Venom is particularly much better, to be honest with you, but at least it's kind of, I guess, a different type of Venom.
He's
what
got
do you
some
think,
presence as Eddie though, Hardy. I'm just looking at that image that you all always get when you search for Spider-Man 3 and Venom of it's like a really weird high eyebrow raise and like half the Venom suit kind of, and it just looks like, oh, that's actually from the film. I can't. That's
actually in the movie. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, it's very funny because I looked up Venom earlier on, like, and they show some behind the scenes like thing where Topher Grace has got his face like pinned up and stuff like that, like, so presumably like where the symbiote's like pulling at him and stuff, or supposed to be pulling at him when he transforms, and I was just thinking to myself, like, when it was happening, I was like, that could be just in the movie. Like, without the special effects, that just could be what they're going for. It might well be. Yeah, it's just not good. I don't know what it is. I just can't. There's just something so weird about it and just so not good. And at least with the new Venom, he's much toothier. Like, it looks good. And the tongue is correct. Like, the long tongue is like perfect. Even though he still doesn't have the white spider on his chest, which drives me nuts. Like, aesthetically speaking, it just drives me nuts. But just the interpretation of Venom in the film, it's just not well done. It's just really not well done. And yeah, that's why it's my number 2. Rinsler, what's your last shout?
Sort of mine, but yours, because you reminded me of it earlier when we had this conversation.
I'm not using it, so you go ahead.
Purely because I genuinely forgot, and he was one of my favorite characters from the animated series, the X-Men animated series, Gambit in some film about origins and like Wolverine type
X-Men
thing.
Origins Wolverine.
And I was like, what? Was he in that? And then I watched it. Not the film, because I'm not doing that, but I watched the scene, and I was like, oh man, yeah, I forgot about that. And then there was a really annoying bit in that, which just is movie rubbish, but he's like gets smashed in the face and he's on the floor, and then the next thing you see, he's running from the roof and doing all this slow-mo flipping and like rotating off of buildings. And then there's that weird, which I again forgotten about. I can't believe I've forgotten about Wolverine killing the fire escape as he comes down.
Yeah, killing the ladder. That's always the bit that and yeah, he just keeps climbing up it. It's amazing. It's like
it's just been like flipping off all of the buildings, and yet, oh no, I'm just gonna keep falling down. But I
Taylor
just
Kitsch is the guy.
Yeah, I'd completely forgotten that was him as well. I was like, oh, he's an all right actor generally. He's done some all right stuff, but just awful. Awful. And even in that 3.5 minute scene that I watched earlier today, some of the cheesiest dialogue that I've had the displeasure of seeing recently. And yeah, just bad, all round bad.
I think the one thing that we can say about so for those of you who are not aware, Gambit is a mutant with the power to I guess it's kinetic energy, kinetically charge objects and throw them. And his particular choice is playing cards. He normally fires playing cards at people. He also has a staff that he uses to beat people up. When you watch him in the animated series, especially, and obviously in the books as well, I think the overarching character trait that I can say for Gambit is cool. Mm-hmm. He's really, really cool. Mm-hmm. And when you see him in this film, He's
And
really, really not cool.
Yeah, really weedy.
Yeah.
He's like he's in the, again, my reference is the animated series, and it's been a good few years since I've seen that. But
Sure.
like he's kind of gruff, and he's the way he says sugar is obviously amazing, and he's just
Mon cher.
then saw that and just I was like, that's I genuinely had to like double check it. So that's he's so weedy, and sort of like with what you're saying about I was gonna say Topher
Might as well.
Grace
Who
in
remembers
like
him? Nobody.
not the presence for the character. Like you're not. That's not it. And there's times where weedy works because it's the character that they're trying to portray, but not then. No.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of characters in X-Men Origins Wolverine that really are cast as kind of like of their time, you know, where it's like they were cast because they were super hot in that particular time, you know. That's the same. So I'm just looking at the cast listing now. Obviously, that's Taylor Kitsch is Remy LeBeau. He was a big up-and-coming actor at that point in time. Ryan Reynolds, that was his first appearance as Wade Wilson Deadpool. We're going to honorably mention Deadpool in that film because, Jesus. The difficult thing about that film is they do a weird mix of interpretations because, like, when he's in the lift heading up to do the sword splitting the bullet thing in half, amazing, like, great Deadpool, absolutely perfect. Ending when they sew his mouth shut and turn him into Baraka, terrible Deadpool. But then Will.i.am is in that movie as well, by the way.
Oh yeah,
as Wraith. That's the weirdest thing. But it's just so weird. That's such an odd. It's such a strange movie that because they've got really good actors in it. Like Daniel Henney is in there as Agent Zero. Dominic Monaghan is in there.
Guy that played Sabretooth as well.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Liv Schreiber is absolutely perfect as Victor Creed. Like, he is perfect as Sabretooth in that. And it is easily the best interpretation of Sabretooth we've seen in live action. But dear God, Gambit in that is awful. I would just like to pick you up on something else as well, you said, Rinsler, which was Taylor Kitsch has been in some good films. No, he hasn't. He's been absolute rubbish.
I'm getting him confused with Emil Hirsch.
Okay.
So, yeah, no.
Let me just run you through some of these. So we've got.
Wait, he's in that Mars film.
We've got the award-winning X-Men Origins Wolverine, obviously. He's in John Carter from Mars.
That's the one. Yeah. That's
Dear God Almighty. But don't worry. Don't worry. He brought it back with Battleship. Yeah, that's fine. It's all right. It's good. And then he was in the worst series of True Detective as well.
Yeah.
You know, he's really done some good stuff.
Anyway. I totally got him confused with the wrong person.
Let's not speak ill of the career dead. Sorry, that's a horrible thing to say.
I've heard very good things about Friday Night Lights, though, but I've never watched it.
True. That is true. Ensemble cast, isn't it?
Anyway. Yeah.
Yes, good. Right, let's get the Gambit taste out of our mouth. Right, I'm gonna end on a high, and for those of you who are regular listeners to this channel, you may guess what my worst performance in a comic book movie is, as the faithful to the character. Well, I've cheated a little bit, Rinsler. I'm going to be honest with you because this one, it's a twofer because it's in the same movie, and this one's also going to hurt Zane. So, my top pick, this was my number one, and I thought about it. This was the inspiration for today's episode because I thought about it, and I thought, I haven't had a rant about this in a while. I'm going to have a good old rant about it. It's Batman v Superman, Dawn of Justice. It is both the interpretations of Lex Luthor and Doomsday. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Jesse Eisenberg's interpretation of Lex Luthor and the CGI monstrosity that was Doomsday. Doomsday I can forgive because, you know, it's a CGI monster. You can't really do much of a performance with it, even though the way they did it was ham-fisted and awful. But dear God Almighty, the weird Zuckerberg-esque tech freak Lex Luthor is by far and away the worst interpretation I have seen of Lex Luthor on screen. in the books, Lex Luthor is a super genius who is cold, calm, calculated, has an obsession with Superman that is extremely unhealthy, basically underneath it all wants to be Superman and have that power. Jesse Eisenberg's interpretation is weird twitchy guy who has an abnormal amount of piss that he puts in a jar and puts in a senator's face. Oh, and then he does some other stuff with Doomsday and, makes a clone of him. It's just so bad. It's so bad. Like, even his monologues in it just feel so... I honestly, sometimes when I'm watching BVS, sometimes I genuinely get confused and think I'm watching The Social Network again. Because it is literally the same character. He's just playing Mark Zuckerberg in a Batman film. And I'm like, why has Zack Snyder chosen to take you down this route? Because this is a terrible interpretation. There's no threat from him. It just feels like it's just that, like, Batman and Superman want to kill each other, and then Lex Luthor just happens to be doing some stuff. That's what it feels like. And it's like, no, it should be that he is manipulating and calculating and clearly, pushing these two together. And it never feels that way. So, I don't like it. I don't like it at all. Also, he's not bold. Why isn't he bold?
Does he go bold in the end?
Justice League. Oh, yeah, he does at the end. He loses his hair because he sees Darkseid.
But isn't that then in the theatrical cut or the extended cut that he goes
I can't remember. No, it's in the. I think it's right.
It is in
it's when he gets put in prison, isn't it?
I can't remember if that was because there's other stuff, and then I can't remember if that was in the theatrical. But anyway, yep. I again, like the present choice, like with Toba Grace, the timing, the character that they're playing and the actor that plays him, just not right.
It's just bad. I mean, this one is really a case of extremely bad casting. But then even I mean, Jesse Eisenberg's not a horrible actor. Like, he has done some interesting roles, but just, my God almighty, it's like he didn't even bother reading the source material. And sometimes that works. Look at Matt Smith in Morbius. But
Still, I've really got to watch that.
You haven't seen it yet?
No.
You haven't seen Morbing Time?
It's on Disney Plus
Apple.
now, isn't it?
Is
it on Apple too?
No, it's on Apple because it's Sony, isn't
on
it?
Disney Plus. Sony.
Yeah, come on.
Right.
They've got all the big hits. Morbius, Kraven the Hunter's coming out.
I haven't got Apple either, so no.
It's a new email subscription time.
New trial coming up.
There is Titans season 4 is coming out soon, and I don't know, for those of you who might be aware, but there is a TV series called Bosch that is on Amazon. It's a crime drama TV series. It's fantastic. It's excellent. So Titus Welliver, who is Bosch, is going to be Lex Luthor in Titans season 4,
nice.
and that is pretty much fabulous casting. It's fantastic, because also Titus Welliver's voice is amazing. Like, he's got that rich voice. Like, the whole point behind Lex Luthor is he shouldn't have to yell to command a room. He shouldn't be a weird, creepy dork guy either. He should be able to justifiably enforce power without yelling, and there's nothing that Jesse Eisenberg interpretation does that portrays that. It's horrible. It's a horrible interpretation. I'm very excited to see Titus Welliver's. We never got to see the dream casting of Bryan Cranston, who I think we all would have loved to have seen as Lex Luthor. Because it was right off the back of Breaking Bad, and it would have been perfect timing, but they just didn't go with it. I mean, the way that the Snyderverse turned out, I'm not necessarily sad about that. Sorry, Snyderverse fans, come at me. But I'd like to see Bryan Cranston's version of Lex Luthor in the Batman's world, like in the Batman's like DC universe kind of thing. That would be interesting. But yeah, we'll see. I don't know. DC films are getting cancelled left, right, and centre. Blue Beetle's on the chopping block next. We'll see. But there you go.
why so do we need to touch more on dare I ask, but Doomsday side of that rant, or there's seemed to one side.
We play the triggered gif. Play the triggered gif. All right, let's take a minute and look at Doomsday, right? So Doomsday in the comics
Grey
is
Blob.
He's
a Grey Blob.
How dare you? Doomsday in the comic books is a Kryptonian super weapon. He was designed by, I'm not sure if it was Kryptonian scientists or someone else, but basically the idea behind Doomsday was he is an evolutionary killing machine that was cloned and murdered on this barren planet billions or like millions of times. And every single time, the idea is every single time he died and his recumbent DNA was used again, his body learned from it. And so he became this evolutionary force where whenever he dies from something or gets like really badly hurt from something, his body immediately builds a resistance to it and a counter to it. So there's a famous bit in the books where he's fighting in the Death of Superman, where he's fighting Superman, and Superman damages his eyes, and then he grows bone like cages over his eyes so that he can still see, but his eyes are protected, and it like happens super quick. Like Doomsday in the books is at that time was the only person to have killed Superman, and the reason he's called Doomsday is because he's a planet killer. He literally will come to a planet and murder and kill until there's nothing left. The interpretation of Doomsday in the film was that he's General Zod, but he's General Zod with a bit of crazy Lex Luthor blood in him, and then some Kryptonian gunk has turned him into Doomsday.
Grey Blob.
Yeah, Grey Blob, exactly. Who seems to have all the incumbent powers of, Doomsday, except for the fact that he has to soak up mass amounts of electricity, which is more like a character, like Parasite is like it steals kind of heroes' energy force and stuff like that and can absorb their powers. I'm trying to think of a thing in the books that is similar to like energy, like absorption, and then all this other weird stuff. It's awful, Rinsler. It's terrible. I just can't even like even the look of it is, like you said, big grey blob, and I don't why did they do that? Why? And then it's weird because like you look at things like this, like the Snyder's Justice League, the Snyder cut of Justice League, and like those interpretations of Darkseid and Steppenwolf are really good. Like they're really good interpretations. They look great. Much better than the Joss Whedon release. But like he just missed the trick with this. I don't know what he was doing. I don't know what was going on. It was not a good look. It was not a good look.
Is that the kind of thing you like you're talking about Eisenberg not being the Luthor, but like did Snyder, do you think, have much impact in that, or is he like, because surely if you've got a vision, surely you can see that that's not working, and like you push your actor to go a different way, or this, so they both have been on the same page, and the same with the grey blob. You're like, okay, this is where I'm gonna go with it, sort of thing, and change and tweak it. And
I truthfully think that in the Batman v Superman Dawn of Justice film, all Zack Snyder wanted to do was see Batman and Superman have a fight. And I don't think he considered anything else around it. I don't think he gave a monkeys about the interpretation of Lex Luthor.
How they would stop fighting.
Exactly. He didn't care about any of that. Martha! He just cared about the fight looking cool. And in his defense, the fight between Batman and Superman is great. And it looks really cool. And whoever was the costume designer on that, by the way, bravo! You deserve all the awards, because the interpretation of the Dark Knight Returns armor Batman suit that he fights Superman in is fantastic. And even that bat suit itself, like that bat suit is one of my favorite bat suits ever. Like I know Zane loves Batfleck and will, die on that hill until the morning comes. I think Ben Affleck as Batman is one of the best interpretations of Batman we've had. I would have liked to have seen more of him as Bruce Wayne.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think we got enough of him as Bruce Wayne to really feel what it was like to see him in his world. Because we got a lot of Bruce Wayne in Metropolis when he was like attending parties and stuff like that. But we barely got any of him in Gotham, like as Bruce Wayne, as that figure in Gotham, and it was really clever. Like they did a really clever setup with that, with him being in Metropolis when, the Kryptonians had their fight and wrecked Metropolis. It was a very good way to do that and to set up that idea that Bruce is jaded by Superman because he's experienced his wreckage firsthand.
Mm-hmm.
But I just would have liked to have seen more Bruce Wayne, really. Ben Affleck as Bruce Wayne. And maybe we will in the upcoming Flash movie. We'll see. We'll see what happens with that. I don't know. You never know. Stranger things have happened than to get Batfleck back. So Zane's dream could still come true. But, ladies and gentlemen, what was your worst comic book performances in movies of all time? Did we hit the nails on the head? Did you enjoy hearing our disgraceful dive into the muck of comic book movies? Well, let us know. You can reach us at nerdsundisputed@gmail.com. You can check us out on Facebook, on Instagram, everywhere that you go for social medias. Zane normally does this bit, and I can never remember all the points. It's all of them. Obviously, give us a comment, give us a like, rate us up on your podcasting platforms, because believe me, it really does help us. And also we can read them out on the shows, as we have done for the last couple of weeks. So we really do appreciate you doing them, and send them along. Also, if you're on YouTube, don't forget to subscribe up, drop a like, drop some comments. You can get me on Twitch. I'm twitch.tv/GentlemanlyGamer, streaming pretty much every Tuesday and Thursdays. I was doing Deathloop. I'm still debating what I'm going to do next. I don't really know. And then you can also get me on the gram at GentlemanlyGamer. Rinsler is nowhere to be found, so don't try and look for him, because you will not find him. Rinsler, I want to say thank you very much, mate, for joining me. I appreciate you. You are basically our recurring host now on this show. So I'll
be back next week by the sounds of things as well.
Possibly. We might do it a day early, and I might still be on the show. We'll see. I very much like, if he's listened this far in, I very much like having one up on Zane that I've done more shows than he has. So, he still credits like being in the adverts as being on the show. And I'm like, no.
Stretch.
That's a stretch, my friend. No way. I think I'm 4 up on him at the moment. I think I've done 4 more than he has, but that's going to drop down again when I go away, because I'm going away next month. So yeah, we'll see. Guys, next week will probably be a review of She-Hulk, the whole series, what we thought of it, where we see the MCU going as a result of it. And then, a week after that, I believe, is Black Adam, because you and I have just organised to go and see it, haven't we, Rinsler?
Oh, I should probably go and do that. Yep.
Yeah.
Sort that out now. Yes, it is.
All right, guys. We hope you have a fantastic week. Enjoy your week, and we will see you next time. Say goodbye, Rinsler.
Goodbye, Rinsler.
Hey, there it is. Thanks, everyone. See you next week. Bye.
Bye.